Okay, guys, so just quickly walking you all through these four problems. And like you said, that you all are typically seeing problems like this on a lot of your all's exams. So, and this, the four problems that Lucas had sent to me, number one, or I'm sorry, number 55, I should say, but the first of those four problems says that this is how magnesium sulfate comes. It says there are 30 grams per every 500 milliliters of that fluid. And it says, here's what we ordered. So here's kind of the focus of what we have in this problem is we've ordered, it says to infuse a maintenance dose of, let's see, 4 grams per hour. And it says, based on this information, how many milliliters per hour will this infusion run? So in any problem like this, I always kind of focus on, okay, well, based on what we've ordered and then based on what we need, so this is what we need because this is what the question has asked us. There are two things that need to happen. One, I need to convert my grams to milliliters. And well, what's great about this problem is hours to hours is there's nothing that has to happen down there. So we're good on that. But on the top one, to get, from grams per hour, it's almost like I try to explain this sometimes as, doctor has ordered this dose in grams, not remembering that the medication comes in liquid form is almost what's happening. That, okay, well, I know that there are, based on, remember what's up here, I know there are 30 grams for every 500 milliliters of fluid. Okay, well, the patient doesn't need 30 grams. The patient only needs a part of that. The patient only needs 4 grams based on, again, what's been ordered. So we're not going to need the total 500 milliliters of how this medicine comes. So that's where that dosage formula comes in. Anytime you're trying to convert a solid dose of grams into milliliters, that's always going to be a dosage calculation. So from what I've shown you guys so far about, dosage calculations, it's always using that D over H times Q formula. So if the doctor orders grams per hour and we need to get it to milliliters per hour, that's going to be based on what's available. So what we have up here. So let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Hold on, move. Okay, so if I have 4 grams per hour, and this medication comes as 30 grams per 500 milliliters. This was the dosage formula. Dosage formula, guys, remember, according to the videos I've sent you guys and what we've talked about in classes before, D over H times Q says that doctor's order is D. Sorry, that's narrow. It's D. Dosage on hand is H, and the quantity on hand is Q. So that's why I have that set up as 4 grams over 30 milligrams per 500 milliliters. So anytime we're trying to convert that, sorry, I'm trying to access a calculator. My computer is super slow. So when we're doing that, I'm going to take 4 divided by 300, 30, times 500, and I get 66. So this tells me that we would give, it says 66.6 repeating, so 66.7, or if you needed to round it to the nearest whole number, it'd be 67. Nearest tenth would be 66.7, depending on what the ATI exam proctor is telling you to round it to. So that's how I administer that. So since what's great about that problem is it was already per hour, so I didn't have to do anything with the hours. But that's how I'd always think that, is think based on what's ordered and how I need to get to what's given. How do I get from here to here? So what we had done on that problem is when I was trying to convert from grams per hour, but I needed, sorry, I have terrible handwriting. Okay, and I needed to get it into milliliters per hour. How do we get from grams to milliliters? Again, anytime you need to get from a solid, like in this case, from grams, the solid dosage to liquid, it's typically based on how it comes. So it's like Robitussin or NyQuil. Those are liquid medicines. You all know more about liquid medicines than I do, but anything that's liquid, there's a solid amount of the dosage strength that comes with, and we need to convert it into a liquid form. And so that's how we would do that, is use that dosage formula. Later, you guys will see that if this was ordered per minute or something, if this was ordered per minute, in order to convert that to hours, we would have to do something else. So just remember that anytime it needs to get from a solid dosage to a liquid dosage, we need to use that dosage formula. Let's see, so number 2 says this. It says we have 7.5 milligrams per kilogram. Sorry, I always try to write this too fast. Intramuscularly every 12 hours. Available is the same medicine, but it's available as, I'll write this in green because this shows what's available, is 0.535. And it says grams. I hate when people use GM for gram. That's not the right abbreviation for gram. But grams per milliliter. So how many milliliters would you administer for each dose to a patient that weighs 175 pounds? Okay, or 157. Dyslexic tonight. Sorry. Okay, so 157 pounds. Okay, so here's what's being asked. So it says that we have 7.5 milligrams per kilogram that's needed to be ordered here. And I want to know how many milliliters, though, would you give per dosage. Here's what's kind of tricky about this, is it says 7.5 milligrams per kilogram every 12 hours. So I want to know, what am I giving every 12 hours? I think a lot of people would read a problem like this and feel like we need to do something with this every 12 hours. But since it's saying that I want to know, what do I give per dose? Well, that's the per dose. Is it 7.5 milligrams per each kilogram of weight with every dose? So I don't have to, a lot of times people will take that and say, oh, I need to think about how that's 2 times in a day and need to do more with it. But it didn't say anything about, well, what do I give per day? It just said, here's what I do every 12 hours. So let's think about this. So we need to give 7.5 milligrams with every kilogram every 12 hours. Okay. Patient weighs 157 pounds. So again, 157 pounds divided by 2.2. So 157 divided by 2.2 is 71.4, if we rounded that right. 71.4 kilograms. Which means they need 71.4 times this dose. Okay, let me clear this out for a second here, just to make this a little bit clearer. So again, the order dose was 7.5 milligrams for every kilogram of weight every 12 hours. Our patient, who weighs 71.4, we're going to take that and we're going to multiply 71.4 to see exactly what our patient needs. So 71.4 times 7.5, that means our patient needs 535.5 milligrams. Again, that's what they need every 12 hours. Now the question said, well, what do we need in milliliters per hour? And just like I showed you all on the last problem, anytime we're taking a solid weight dose, like from milligrams, kilograms, micrograms, milliequivalents, whatever it might be, if we're taking a solid weight and we're trying to convert it into liquid form, we need a dosage formula. Conveniently, what it told us in that problem is what's available. It said that what's available is 0.35 grams for every milliliter. So I need to convert milligrams, into milliliters. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to put this into a dosage formula. So what's been ordered for our patient is this amount right here, the 535.5 milligrams to be given every 12 hours. So based on how that comes, we just put that into a dosage formula. So if it helps, again, to see that as, okay, well, if I have 535 milligrams to be given every 12 hours. That's the dose. And I want to convert it into milliliters per dose because the question is asking me per dose. Every single time when you're converting this to this, we need the dosage formula. Every time. So, sorry, move that a little bit. So, in putting that in there, so 535, I know it was 500, sorry guys. It was 535.5, sorry. And then dividing that by how that comes, since that was in milligrams, it was 0.35. But the trick here is this, and actually let me move this over. My sloppy handwriting has moved this a little bit. So let me show you this again. So it was 535.5 milligrams that had been ordered based on, again, the patient's weight. So based on what was ordered, because it was per kilogram and our patient was, again, 71 point whatever kilograms, this is what they need. But it comes as 0.35 grams per milliliter. So per 1 milliliter. Every time we use the dosage formula, remember the dosage has to match. As far as the dosage ordered and the dosage on hand, they have to match. So if I have milligrams and the dosage comes in grams, I have to get them to where they match. So many times, and I know, Lucas, you didn't have me for medical math, but any video I've ever sent you, I have said that since we need these two to match, the idea is to get them to cancel out. So what has to happen is we have to convert one to the other. I have to either convert this gram dosage down here into milligrams so that therefore they're both in milligrams, or the reverse, convert the milligrams into grams so that they match. My habit is always to convert everything into milligrams, and it's just easier. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this bottom unit down here, the 0.35. I'm going to convert that into milligrams so that then therefore they'd both be in milligrams. And how I do that, remember there were two ways that we could do that. We could either multiply by 1,000, because grams to milligrams, if you're using that stair-step method, is times 1,000, or move the decimal 3 places to the right is how we would do that if we were using the other method. And that either way converts this into 350 milligrams. So now that they match, I can divide this up. So I take 535.5 divided by 350, and then times 1 is still, it gives me, in my calculator, it gives me 1.53. Chances are your ATI is going to tell you to round to the nearest tenth. And then, in fact, I don't think it tells, it doesn't tell you on these problems, but any ATI proctor will tell you how to round that. And so I would imagine this would be told to round to the nearest tenth. So 1.5 milliliters is what they would give every dose. I mentioned always pay attention to what the question is asking you, because here in this question in number 56, it said, how many milliliters would you give per dose? If the question had said, what would we give per day, that's different. Because what we just calculated based on all this information is what we were given, is what we're giving this patient every 12 hours. So if this is what they're giving every 12 hours, it would double in an entire day. So you can, at the end of that, take that and multiply it by 2 to figure out, oh, well, if they're getting 1.5 milliliters every 12 hours, well, then in the second 12 hours of that day, they're going to get another 1.5, so that would end up being 3 milliliters in an entire day. So sometimes it's just a matter of paying attention to what's being asked. And that's what I showed you guys in the original part of this problem, is if, okay, well, based on the ordered dose, 7.5